All right, let's try this again, shall we? I'm not muted. I was somehow OBS changed my input from my my snowball microphone to nothing, which was, I don't know how the hell that happened, but not like I would ever do that. So yeah, fixed. Yeah, I have a VU meter now. All right, well, let's not worry about such things anymore. Hi guys, how are you? I'm a little out of it. What I was trying to say was, really, what we're looking at tonight is, I didn't have anything prepped because I mowed the lawn this afternoon and passed out for 2.5 hours. So I don't know how you guys feel as you get older, but I'll tell you, it's getting tough, right? So, been a long week. Wrote a lot, did a lot, whatever. So before I went live just now, trying to figure out, yeah, it's gonna be mostly rando night, so you guys can throw a bunch of stuff out there, and I'll I'll get to it eventually, but we'll see. But I will say what I did the last just worked for it. So now I have to be entertaining and hungover. Got it. All right, this is gonna be great. All right, either I'm gonna go for like 2 hours straight because now I'm awake, or I'm going to like suck complete ass tonight, and it's just going to be the way it is. All right. God damn it. I'm a baby boomer. God damn it. God damn it. I'm a baby boomer. How dare you? I know if you guys haven't been watching Owen Benjamin's South Park Boomer series, like, dude, those things are fucking hysterical. So, it's crazy. So those things are really funny. Look up the one about John JFK being gay and just watch it, and then know that, all week and having to deal with cheap boomer moralizing over Trump, and it's really getting to me after a while. All right, let's see. Nothing going on. Hey, I got a notification from my own channel finally from YouTube. Amazing. I didn't think that happened. All right, I know there's a bunch of new people in the subscribe this week, mostly probably from the Silver Doctors interview. If you didn't see that, sorry guys if you were expecting me to be on my toes tonight. If you're new and you decide to chime in, great. Throw something up in the chat. I will respond to it eventually when I actually become coherent. But the one thing I do want to talk about before we go much farther is two things. First, so really Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. I mean, I thought Owen Benjamin was funny, but the New York Medical Examiner, wow, I didn't know he was related to Ray Charles. I didn't know they hired blind people as diversity hires in New York, but I guess under De Blasio anything's possible. Holy shit! And then the latest one. The latest one is, so the Brits release the Grace 1 Iranian oil tanker, or Panamanian oil tanker that's now an Iranian oil tanker, which everybody knew it was a Iranian oil tanker. So now we have now issued, we have issued now a warrant for its arrest and for the rest of all the people working on it, crewing this boat. Like, we're going to send military assets in to seize $2 million and a couple 100,000 barrels of oil. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how uniquely pathetic the Trump administration is, I don't know what does. Okay, it is pathetic in the extreme that a country that's supposed to be as great and as powerful and is supposed to lead the world by example and all of this, to then turn around and deny, and then to think about of how low we have sunk, that we would try to stop oil from moving around the world, to starve people from having any money to enforce our edicts. It's like, how pathetic and sad are you? Like, it's to the point now with this fucking Goomba. Okay, and don't forget, guys, I am from New York originally. I am Italian. And oh, by the way, I know what the Italian slurs are. Okay. That this fucking Goomba, this act right here, this is Fredo shit. This is truly like Fredo shit. This is really, really sad. The U.S. military and the U.S. military assets have no need to be hijacking Iranian oil tankers on the high seas. We have no business breaking down international law this way. All for the purpose of trying to stop a small amount of oil from moving around the world. This kind of intimidation tactic doesn't work. You can't interdict everything. If you can't interdict everything, you can't interdict any of it. Okay, the truth of the matter is, and this is important to note, is that the numbers coming out of Iran, the official numbers of oil exports that are published are far lower than what's actually happening. It's confirming everything I said what would happen originally, which is that Iran's exports aren't really going to drop very much. Oh, I know that the actual numbers that they report are down to like 400,000 or 450,000 barrels a day from 2 million. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. The Chinese are importing just as much oil from Iran as they did before the sanctions went into effect. They're just not reporting it. Okay? It's kind of like, you know, at the end of the day, you can write headlines on the official numbers. So Iran puts out some fake numbers. We report those fake numbers in order to support a fake policy. And now we're going to destroy the entire shipping industry. It's ridiculous. So, you know, Trump runs his presidency at this point like he's a gangster. He is a gangster. And it's just nonsense. Now, the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is just really funny, right? One of the regulars in the stream, WDM, fully believes that Trump had Epstein killed. And that this is all just, this is all just show. And I'm like, and I'll call out people I'm going to call this out. And this to me is cheap boomer moralizing. This is not being able to handle a world that's not fucking black and white. And I'm going to be frank and honest. And I've been getting pushback from a lot of people about me going off on boomers recently. And I'll be frank and honest with you. This is my live stream. I don't care. This is where you get me uncensored. This is where you get me unfiltered. The generational divide is real. The generational ethos, differences in the generational ethoses are real. And being able to see the world in shades of gray is not the same as being a cuck, which is the Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, Steve Bannon horseshit. Being able to say that Trump probably opened up the can of worms against Epstein on purpose because he's fighting with people within the deep state that he wants revenge on for 3 years of Russiagate and for thwarting his plans as president, and because Trump is a vain and vindictive piece of shit. And saying that does not then turn around and validate him as a human being. None of it makes any sense. To say that, oh, well, this is all just a setup. If you believe something like that Trump has just been the Manchurian candidate for the deep state the entire time, if you believe that, well, then it's just willful. It's willful. Ignorant or willfully ignoring. I'm looking for the right phraseology here. Willfully ignoring a preponderance of evidence on the one side and a little bit of evidence to support yourself. And this is exactly what the MSM does. This is exactly what the the shit libs and shit bags on who support them in the power structure do. This is exactly the kind of thing that they want you to do. They want us fighting amongst ourselves as to whether or not Trump is a shitbag or not. Everybody agrees Trump is a shitbag. That's not the issue anymore. The issue is what kind of shitbag is he? So it's really kind of sad that a corrupt New York medical examiner labeling Epstein's death a suicide after he was obviously fucking murdered, and Ghislaine Maxwell shows up in an In-N-Out in LA, and I have it on good authority from a friend of mine. The In-N-Out's kind of like neutral ground for spooks and the Bloods and the Crips and Hollywood and everybody else in LA. And so she shows up in an In-N-Out reading a book about the life and death of CIA operatives, going, oh, by the way, I've got a kill switch, and if you come after me, fuck you. I'm gonna burn you all to the ground. Oh yeah, that's her yelling at Trump. Fucking out of your mind? It's like, it doesn't fit any facts. It doesn't fit anything. It doesn't fit any of what we know. It doesn't fit any of the things that people know about Donald Trump going back. No, what fits is Trump is pissed off at the people who put him through hell for the last 3 years. If anything, what I think is going on here, and you can see the preponderance of the stories coming out now. Again, same people behind the scenes. We're sitting here arguing about this. The same people are asking, so why is this information coming out now? Why are we getting all this information about Hillary's emails and the fact that they were copy and pasted, backed up on a Chinese server and all of this? Why? Why would this be coming out now? Well, maybe it's because it's exactly what I've been saying for the last 2 years, which is as Trump survives the hit on him that was Russiagate, just transparently obvious to anybody who spent any time in Washington whatsoever, including Pat Buchanan, including so many other freaking people. It's been so obvious because it fits the same pattern that they pulled with Nixon. It's the same pattern they pulled with everybody else that's ever painted outside the lines in the corridors of power. That now he's survived that because he's too much of an asshole and too much of a good fella to do otherwise. Just walk away. In order for this thing to not blow up in everybody's face, someone is going to have to hang for this. And it's not Jeffrey Epstein by his fucking toilet paper sheets. Okay? It's absolutely going to wind up being Hillary Clinton. And I'm telling you, the Clintons are going to go down for this. It's going to take a while. It's going to be stretched out all through the 2020 campaign. But Barr and Trump are going to take Hillary down. That's not to say that Barr and Trump are draining the swamp. No, they're not. Hillary is chum. She has now less than zero value to the people who she used to run around with. She has no influence to peddle. She's got no political power left. She's old and she's frail and she's a fucking alky. She's all of these things. She's a liability at this point. She's not president. She's a liability. Bill's not president. He's a liability. They're just Arkansas grifters. And they've hit the peak of their the peak of their power, and now they're on the downside. Nobody has any loyalty to them. They didn't have any loyalty to anybody else. So why would anybody have any loyalty to them? So at the end of the day, the power structure is going to turn over the Clintons. It's going to throw the Clintons out there to Trump as chum and as a means by which to allow them to skate. And we can blame all of this Epstein shit on Clinton. You watch. And Russiagate and everything else. And everybody else who was involved will be whitewashed. I've been saying this for 2 years because it's obvious that the whole thing was set up by fucking Clinton. Obama's going to walk. Brennan's going to walk. Comey's going to walk. All of them are going to walk. Hillary's the target. She's been the target from the beginning. She's been the target from the beginning. The administration, as the great Brent Harris just said, is this administration has become an absolute shambles and an absolute shit show. Trump doesn't deserve to be reelected, but he's most likely going to be because the Democrats are even more pathetic than he is. That's where we are. Weeping for your past republic is a waste of your time and your energy. This is the other thing we really need to get behind. And this is part of the whole pathetic I'm sorry, pathetic boomer moralizing about lost America and lost idealism, because they're all things. This is what happens when the prophet generation gets old, as Strauss and Howe will tell you, is they all turn into moralizing didactic moralists, and it's so obvious. Go look at the bullshit that they're peddling on both the left and the right. It's all the same, and it's even worse in libertarian circles, because they don't want to take any responsibility for actually analyzing the world anymore. They're just tired. They just want to fucking piss off on it. Hey man, I get it. Life's tough. It's hard. You don't want to have to think hard anymore. You just want to be able to go, yep, that's the answer. I can't live in that world. I have to make a fucking living doing this. Okay, I'm not. I can't do that. So it's incredibly important to understand that the dynamic here is just playing itself out per the fourth turn, per Strauss and Howe and the fourth turning and all of that shit. And this is not to say that every boomer's this way. And I'm gonna play, Nax. I'm gonna give you my Naxalt fucking disclaimer. But the truth of the matter is this is where we are. These are the people making policy. These are the people commenting on policy. These are the people trying to get out from underneath the responsibility of the policy that they've implemented, and they make everybody, take a bite out of the shit sandwich they've created. Hey, it's all there. God damn it, I'm a baby boomer. I don't deserve this. I dare you. A double dog dare you. God damn it, I'm a baby boomer. We put people on the moon. We ended a war. Yeah, so what? What the fuck have you done for me lately other than spend my daughter into debtor's prison, you fucking assholes? This is where we are. This is where we are. And I'm sorry if that alienates people. I just don't really give a shit anymore. Tom, really, Litzok was fun. Class of 69. I'm sure it was. I was a year old. And dude, I don't, look, I'm not even like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. Just own up. Every generation. Look, Gen X is going to have to own up to its failures for not being able to stop this shit. The millennials are already yelling at us, okay? It's gonna come, and we're gonna have to suck it up when they yell at us and they don't have any fucking future. And they're gonna look at their parents, not me, because my kids Gen Y, right? My kids Homeland generation or whatever. But but in general, Gen X, we're gonna have to answer to the millennials for this shit. I'm already answering to the millennials for this shit that we didn't do to stop the demise of this. And they've got a real problem, and they're going to have a real problem going forward. And I feel for them, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and and put on my and absolve myself of the responsibility of the failures of my generation, the failures of the generation that came before me, and everything else. I mean, I'm not, I can't even blame my parents. My parents were silent generation. I can blame my sisters; they're boomers. So there you go. Yeah, Gen X has its own problems, and we're going to have this conversation 20 years from now, and hopefully I won't turn into, but my generation is not destined to become didactic moralists. We're destined to be the curmudgeons that sit on the fucking corner playing, and shouting at the kids as the traffic, to stay off their fucking lawn. That's our future. Got the fuck off my lawn, you little whippersnapper. You little shit. When in my day, I'd have fucking kicked your ass. That's who we're going to be. Okay, that's what Gen X is going to wind up being. Except I live too far from the road to yell at any kids other than my own. So I guess I'll have to yell at my grandkids with any luck. So, Tom, were you in high school during the Great Depression? Yeah, the 70s. Actually, I was in high school post the Great Depression of the 70s, but middle school. Yeah. All right. So there you go. God damn it! I'm a baby boomer. Dare you? We put people on the moon. Shit's funny as hell. Gotta watch that. Like, really, really funny. All right. God damn it. Get off my lawn. That's your fucking dog's poop. Get that shit off my lawn. That's who we're gonna be. While the world burns. Because we're gonna be too fucking tired and too ragged out to give a shit. While we live in our fucking single wives, because it's all we can afford. We'll still be bitching about the baby boomers. We'll still be bitching about our boomer parents because that's what we do. Allegedly put people on the moon. Exactly. Whatever. You understand what I'm... Yeah, let's... You guys are great. All right. Shadow government love Trump now. All right, I'm going to go back through the copious number of comments that we have for so far this evening, and let's look. Oh, look, we're already up to 80 people. Jesus Christ, I haven't been able to do this. This is just fun. All right, so yeah, sorry about the getting started a little late tonight. It is what it is. Sitting and staring at the Tom channel doesn't tell you that the stream is starting. Trump body count. I don't buy the Trump body count thing at all. I really don't. So. Tenjin says, Epstein has made everybody dumber somehow. Two big camps emerge, one where Clinton is all-powerful evil force and one where Trump is an all-powerful evil force. Yeah, and the actual evil, all-powerful evil force be standing behind him are the ones who did this shit. Which is just so freaking obvious. But Herschel Robeson says, I'm a boomer, and I go off on boomers. Oh, thank God. All right. So, Herschel, you are more than welcome to be here whenever you want, because, we do like to go off on boomers. And I'm going to get a whole bunch of nasty notes from a variety of boomers, and it's just going to be what it is, and I don't really care. I just don't give a shit anymore. I just don't. I really don't. It's really hard to determine what is real anymore. Fake news to the left of me, fake news to the right of me. Here I am, stuck in the middle with fucking CNN. Ugh. Green Penguin says, sometime this week it was the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. Are there any non-boomers who give a fuck about Not really. My formative years were spent at the Brendan Byrne Arena watching Rush. All right. Anyway, we're just going to keep going after China and Iran because the Fed is not going to be dismantled. The country is probably going to balkanize, says Guilty Spark. Oh, you've come to the right channel. I've been calling for the United States to be balkanized since 2004. Of course, I wasn't talking about it in public by then, back then. I was just usually just screaming while I was mowing the lawn. God damn it, this country's going to break up into 8 fucking parts, and I'm going to just see it. And God damn it, this lawnmower sucks. Fucking ethanol in my gas. All right, so, all right. And then we move on, and then I step in chicken shit and really get angry. All right, that was like 2005 for me. All right. Mark Bernard says, how about this scenario? Trump had Epstein arrested because it would force the Clinton Obama to either kill Epstein or have him turn state's evidence. This is my theory. It's also it's not even just theory. It's the only thing that fits the facts. Everything else is just horseshit. Everything else is just wishful thinking and massive blackpilling about how disappointed you are that Trump hasn't done what you asked him to do. Yeah, whatever. Russiagate says Brett Harris was just as much about driving Trump into the arms of the neocons as it was about removing him. Exactly. So it's a win-win. And look at where we are today. Jonathan still supports Trump for some reason. I can't honestly understand why, but yes, he does. I need to be admired for surviving 3 years of this bullshit. But look, it comes with the territory, and he was uniquely suited to the task. So we always knew he was going to do this. He's been entertaining. At times, he's really entertaining. He's given us Donald Trump Jr., who might be the best shitlord on Twitter. I mean, say what you want about say what you want, but Donald Trump Jr.'s got a career in fucking stand-up comedy. And he would be better served. Clinton dresses code. Bush paper planes and building blocks code. In-N-Out burger code. Exactly, Tony Blaylock. There's all sorts of shit going on here. What if the EMTs, the guards, etc., were all Barr's FBI agents? And what if they were all Mossad or MI6? I mean, it's possible. I just don't buy it. I mean, look, we had a diverse, I was talking to a friend of mine last night. He's like, you'd think MCC would be run by some, hard-ass, Midwestern, middle-class guy from the Midwest who's, law and order type and doesn't jaywalk and the rest of it. No, the fucking place was run by effectively Stacey Abrams, a diversity hire middle-aged black woman with no experience. Does that not scream fucking Obama to you? You think that screams Bill Barr? No, I think that screams Obama. So, if anybody was going to look the other way and install everything and set things up to do what I'm saying, It's that person. It's because it certainly ain't the guy the guy I just described who's not running MCC. Tenjin says, you know what the sad part about this is at this point is that the taking down the Clintons, it achieves very little. Would prefer the people behind the curtain rather than the has-been puppets. Exactly. That's why Hillary makes the most sense. She's a lightning rod. The adolescent right, i.e. the Charlie Kirk, Ryan Saavedra, Jack Posobiec, bullshit MAGA crowd, all the MAGA peds and the Q-tards, they're all go, yeah, see, Orange Jesus came through for us, thank God. And then they'll give him more money and he'll get him reelected. And meanwhile the farmers are getting killed because they don't have a fucking market for any of their shit, and they can't plant anything because we're unprepared for a pole reversal while we're spending billions of dollars on fucking global warming. I'm at the point now where I just am so fucking tired of it. It's so fucking unbelievably obvious what's happening and what's going on. It's hard to get up in the morning and go, I should really chronicle the death of human civilization. Yeah. What do you want to write about today? Are they paying me for it? Okay, I can write about that. Mike Bernard still believes that they smuggled Epstein out of MCC disguised as a body, with a disguised body singing like a bird in some deep hole somewhere. I think that Epstein already sang and then was left in MCC, dangled as bait to be killed, is what I think. Or that in the raid, they got everything that they wanted and they don't need anything else. They've got all the information they need. Guilty Spark says that MAGAPs never shut up about how Trump is going to win in a landslide. I think he'll win by a thread. Depends. He's really worried right now. He's so angry with the Fed because he knows damn well that the global economy, thanks to him in part, is headed for a fucking cliff that he's helped create because he's a jackass. Because he's a fucking jackass. He's not going to save us from the evil Chinese, but he's winning the fucking propaganda war against Chinese, and more Americans hate Chinese people now than they ever have before, just like more people hate Russians now than at the height of the Cold War. Okay? This is the world we live in. These people have created a false fucking reality for conscientious, well-intentioned conservatives to lose their fucking minds because they need somebody to hate. When the reality is that the people they fucking should hate are themselves for allowing their own fucking country to be hollowed out by a bunch of feckless and fucking traitors on both sides of the political aisle. And Donald Trump is doing not a goddamn thing to change a fucking thing about the dynamic whatsoever. Period. The Clintons, I think, here's the interesting part, Green Penguins. He brings up the Clintons' blackmail book is secure, right? So once that's secured, then they can go down as a public sacrifice. I don't even think that has, I think that every day Clinton's blackmail book gets less and less and less interesting. The longer that she's out of power, the less interesting it gets. The same thing with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Their information is at its maximal power right now. And every day that they delay using it, it loses power. It loses value. Not being American provides perspective. America isn't a propaganda bubble. Oh, no shit. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You say that, Tom, but what about when they start selling 100-year bonds to infinity and beyond? I know that I'll be shorting them. Funbank says, I am still skeptical of anyone of note will go down. Killed, suicided, sure, but I've yet to see a real elite doing hard time. China executes theirs and gets them out of line. That get out of line from time to time, but never in the West. I know, that's why they're fighting this. That's why they fought that extradition treaty so hard. The British bankers who were fucking China over so bad didn't want to go to jail, didn't want to be executed in China. So they activated all their kids in Hong Kong. Yep. Dragon M says Trump's best economy ever is all based on more debt, buying jobs with borrowed money, and when will the debt bomb explode, Tom? Happening. Go look at gold. It's right. It's right there. We're on the cusp of it. It's just a matter of we just need a catalyst at this point. And all the catalysts are primed to be lit off. They just haven't been lit off yet. So we're in this, but we're weeks away as opposed to years away. So the best part of being an extra is that we're mostly invisible. In this acrimonious environment, it's a good thing. That's true. We just yell on Twitter. Peter Fonda died? He made a good movie. Does anybody want to know what one good movie Peter Fonda made? In my opinion. The only good movie he made was Julius Gold with I can't remember Victor. I can't remember. I know that it was produced by one of my best friend's dad, and here locally in Gainesville. It's a great movie, but it's the only decent movie he's ever made. The only decent performance he ever put in. All right. So Dragon Raw says, Tom, is your kid? My kid. She's not ready for college yet. She's 13. But she's ready to not go to college if necessary. So we're really talking hard about this. Patrick Vidian, the great Patrick Vidian from across the pond, says, I'm a boomer, Tom, and I don't give a shit about whether my generation is criticized or not. It's a false classification anyway, in his opinion. Individual souls are what's important, of course. But there is a bit of a generational ethos, and we can see that in the political trends we can see that in the political trends of each generation. And of course, there are outliers on either side, and honestly, most of the outliers are in this room. Alex Grant, putting Russia in my geopolitics since 9:45 a.m. I know I had a great talk with Lee Stranahan this morning. We just kind of like slipped in, all of a sudden just kind of slipped in there. And I was on Fault Lines this morning, and Lee and I chatted about it about 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm like, we could do this all fucking day. I really don't talk about geopolitics anymore. This is so much more fun. So. The government is taking out farmers so that they can socialize farming. The weather is doing an awful lot of good of that. Is doing an awfully good job of that, by the way. Abrams went to Bilderberg this year. Hey, how sad is that? That woman can't even speak English, for fuck's sake. And she went to Bilderberg because she's like the face of the future of the Democratic Party in the United States. She's the opposition, dude. You just don't understand. You just understand how insouciant and how wise she is. I'm like, chronicling the death of civilization is a downer, says Tenjin. If I were a photographer, I'd be tempted to take nice pics of normal everyday stuff. Could be of great interest later. Yeah, every once in a while, I just want to write about, it rained today. It didn't rain yesterday. I got to mow my field because my goats won't go great. Will barely leave the paddock because it's that time of the year where the dog fennel's 7 feet high and they can't see anything, so they don't want to walk out and get bitten by a snake. This is like the life I would prefer to be talking about, but unfortunately, this is the life I've chose. So I can't really complain. So now Trump and Barr have enough dirt to control Washington for the next 20 years. That's a depressing thought. Brett Harris. Yeah, I mean, Trump is insane. He does want more QE, more interest rate cuts, and the U.S. dollar devaluation. Well, he's a mercantilist. High protection tariffs, weak dollar. As Stan mentioned, Trump is an economic ignoramus. Yes, Stan, thank you for quoting me. Trump versus some lunatic Democrat. We lose either way. Isn't it great? It's like, we thought we were getting something better when we were going to have Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton. People aren't even interested in solving the big problems. They just want to annoy their adversaries. Yes. They don't want to solve the big problems. They're spending too much time making money off of it. Why would they kill the cash cow? Did the British deep state cause it to rain today? No. Salenti is calling for a depression by 2021. He's usually spot on with his trends. He's been reading Martin Armstrong. The future has an outstretched hand, kind of like Orlando Malari. Okay. We owe and it will be paid. Exactly. No, Easy Rider is not the best movie ever made, without a doubt. It's Yuli's Gold. When he got punched out by Jackie Chan in Cannonball Run. There you go. No, dead serious. No, Yuli's Gold was a good movie, and it was a really good performance by him. And locally produced movie here in Florida. Shot in Super 16 too, because Victor refused to actually shoot on 35, even though it was cheaper. Hey Tom, Dragon Ross tries to remind me, not that I don't already know this, that the reason why Congress are so pro-Israel more than anything else is because that's where the money is. Of course that's where the money is. We understand. Not my first rodeo. User 13 reminds us, because she is from Georgia, that Stacey Abrams writes softcore porn on the side because, she's a Renaissance woman. Tom, what you say was Trump's goal in becoming president. Do you really think he cares, or is it just all ego? I felt he was genuine during the campaign. I guess he got won over by the neocons. I do think he was genuine during the campaign. I do think in some ways he's still genuine today. His problem is that his definition and his mechanism by which he's going to achieve his goals are horrific. That's what you have to understand. Is that it's all, it's one thing to hear, it's one thing during the campaign to turn a blind eye to, the things you didn't like and go, no, but he's doing this and he's saying all the right things here. But then you get beyond specification, what he says he's going to do, and in implementation, how he's going to go about doing it. And this is where we are. And that's a fucking nightmare. And I should have never been sucked into that. But, like everybody else, at the end of the day, come on, It amazes me beyond words, says Patrick Vidian, how many different tentacles there are in this matrix. Cannot emphasize it. Cannot encompass it all in my tiny mind. Bilderberg, BIS, MI6, CIA, the banksters, pedos, Big Pharma, ER, the Chinese triads, the Yakuza, the Rothschilds, Goldman Sachs, you name it, dogs and cats living together, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, ZOMG, BBQ sauce. Yes. So, cynical skeptic, what's my take on Jeffrey Epstein's view that Chinese problems have nothing to do with tariffs, but the global USD shortage, which Jeffrey Epstein or Jeffrey Snyder? Global USD shortage, which makes their lives difficult in repaying USD loans. And it's not either of those guys. It was somebody else, actually. I remember reading that. My argument to that is it's probably, there's a lot of wishful thinking about China. They're going to implode, this and that. Everybody's been talking about how China's got a fucking dollar problem and they've been trying to talk down China's dollar reserves for, 7-8 years now. I've been hearing the same arguments since 2012. So it's really hard for me to take them seriously, even though they may be serious today. They may be accurate today. But these guys have been calling for the same shit for so long that I'm just not interested in listening to the same fucking argument. It's like listening to the silver guys scream about manipulation and JP Morgan and all this crap. And I'm like, yeah, shut up. Just stop talking about manipulation. Put down the Ted Butler newsletter and back away. Okay? You can't manipulate something against the trend. But Snyder's not one of those guys. So if it's Snyder who said that, and I think it is Snyder who said that, then that may be serious. Because Snyder's not one of those guys. And Snyder's a very serious student of offshore dollar markets and offshore capital flows. So that may be part of it. And maybe that's what Trump means when he says, our tariffs are working, everything's working, it's good. And then, but he should thank the Fed for this. He should thank the Fed and the Eurodollar markets for drying up dollar liquidity around the freaking world then. Because that's the only thing that's ever going to bring China to the table over trade talks. But unfortunately, China also knows that none of the tariffs matter. They're not the things that are causing the dollar shortage. So therefore, they're not going to come to the table and give up their fucking sovereignty over. Whoever caters those Bilderberg phone parties should be getting hazard pay. Free there. If the neocons control Trump's foreign policy, why can't the smart people control his economic policy? Because he hires his people off of Fox News. That's why. Look, Larry Kudlow is a senior economic advisor. You're not going to get good fucking information. He's not getting good advice. Hopium is a hell of a drug. I guess it's like Putin saying there's always hope until you are buried. Yeah, well, the Russians are so uniquely uplifting in their proverbs. Eminently pragmatic people. I actually really like them a lot. How come fiscal and monetary policy are not synchronized? They are. I'm kidding. No, because Trump wants a bigger budget and the Fed realizes that they need to raise interest rates because they've destroyed the credit markets. And so we're at odds here. But Trump is, at the end of the day, Trump is still a fucking Democrat. He's still a tax and spend Democrat. Al Cap said he liked Easy Rider because it had a happy ending. That's really funny. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Now there's a reference every extra knows. Exactly. That's a big Twinkie. Dragon Raw says there's people that believe that America is finished and is managing its decline. Well, it's not doing a very good job of managing its decline. I wish it did. I wish our leadership would do a better job. They could call me. I've got plenty of ideas on how to manage this decline better. Putin will definitely leave Russia in far better state than Trump is going to leave the U.S. No, Trump is going to leave the U.S. By the time Trump and whoever comes after Trump are done, the U.S. will look like Russia at the end of the 1990s. No, every once in a while, Trump is still entertaining. Patrick Vidian says, hey, I must admit that I listen to Trump and I like the cut of his forthright jib. I agree. Trump is a great troll. He says every once in a while, I marvel at the man's ability to manipulate the media. I admire his ability completely on how to manipulate the Overton window and all of this, all of it. And, professionally, I'm like, nice job, dude. And then I remember who he is. Mnuchin is even worse than Kudlow. Goldman Sachs isn't helping him either. Bill Blum says, Tom, what if Trump's goal was to have most countries pull out of China to fund his ever-growing military buildup? Peter Navarro's book, Crouching Tiger, is heavily anti-communist. Peter Navarro is a shitbag. Doesn't matter what Trump's goal is. He can't change the dynamic. The United States is too bogged down in regulation. China is not, and the Chinese are going to open up their capital account at their pace, not at the United States' pace. If that's what Navarro thinks is, what we need to do to stop the growing threat of China's military, because, China's military is deployed so far around the world. This is the crazy part about fucking neocons like Navarro. And seriously, Navarro, if he's thinking in those terms, is a neocon. He's worried about us losing one fucking base somewhere in the world. And that would be a tragedy. Like, we have 150. We can't afford to keep 90 of them, for fuck's sake. And yet, we can't lose one to the Chinese. This is the way these people think. Every step, every small loss is a catastrophe. When every small loss is a catastrophe, that has to be fought tooth and nail, which goes right back to what I was saying at the beginning about the fucking tanker. How pathetic is it that we're going to fight to the end of the earth to stop this one fucking tanker? Are you kidding me? It makes us look weak, pathetic, and foolish. It makes us look like a bunch of fucking jack-offs. It makes us look like a bunch of unprofessional jack-offs. And it's completely unrealistic. Geez, if this is managed decline, I hate to see unmanaged. I've always seen Trump as more of a Loki figure. Oh, yeah, I agree. I've always thought of him as a Loki figure too. I would just wish he would like rise to the occasion and come up with something better, but unfortunately he's not. Losing one military base is a tragedy, says Tension. Losing millions of people is a statistic. Can we relocate those bases to the Mexican border? Yes. Oh. If there's a Pope reversal coming, why bother even trying to fix any of it? In fact, it makes sense to ride the wheels off everything and just keep Joe Public distracted while the chosen plan. This is what I would. I don't know. A poll reversal, right? You meant poll reversal, right, Fun Thing? Pope reversal. That's funny. Like, he's in the Pope, but we're in a reverse, and he's going to stop speaking out of his ass, and no one's going to be able to tell the difference because, you know, he's fucking social. He's a fucking Marxist. All right, so there we are. This is the best I got. God damn it, I'm a baby boomer. I dare you. Double dog dare you. Dare you. We went to the moon. We stopped the fucking war, damn it. Damn it, I'm a baby boomer. How dare you? Dare you? This dare you. JFK was a great man. So, right before, what's the color of the Vatican smoke for a Pope reversal? Brown. Obviously. Rescue Steve says, the U.S. is like Smaug, always good for a Lord of the Rings reference, doesn't want anyone to think it has any weak spots whatsoever, lest arrows be loosed. But everybody can see the big gaping fucking hole. I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about? All right. Let's see. What else is there? I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah, we're at 97 people, and honestly, I want to start talking about World of Warcraft because I really don't want to talk about this shit anymore. Horde of Alliance, yes! Horde. For the Horde, dude. Absolutely. Are they really considering 100-year bonds with a zero coupon? Why not? Mnuchin's been arguing for this since before Trump got elected. But definitely it will be Horde. And for those of you who are interested, and I know most of you absolutely in every way are not, but I'll bring it up anyway. WoW Classic goes live 6 p.m. New York time on the August 26th. I have characters on both East Coast PvE servers. I'm not sure which one I'm going to play on. It'll depend completely on the server population and what the queue times look like. But for now, I am going to set up a Discord server for that, for whatever guild we put together. I've got a couple of locals who are going to join me, and I know there's a couple of people, a couple of regulars here who are interested in joining me and doing so. And I'd be more than happy if, you know, to extend this into our normal daily routine. There will be a politics channel on the YouTube, on the Discord server for those of you who want to, you know, do your politics thing, but just don't bring it into the 5-man chat. Yeah, so there you go. For those of you who want to link, either send me a DM on Twitter or I'll link it. I'll throw up a comment after the stream is over. So if you want to join the Discord server, you can. It'll be a public thing to anybody who's got one. So if you want to join, even if you don't want to play World of Warcraft and just want to hang out with us late at night, because we'll probably be playing at some point, and there you go. We sit and chat. So I've been meaning to make a Discord server for a long time now. I think it's perfect opportunity to do so, and we can go from there. So we do have the Slack server, but we use that for that's for subscribers only, for patrons only. All right, and I will be making a warrior. So yeah. Could you imagine Leroy Jenkins with politics? Politics would wreck in an in-game chat. No, dude, I used to get into politics with my guildies all the time when we were bored, like speed running Underdog during Burning Crusade. I'd be sitting there chatting about the fucking oil markets and shit, and Jesse would be like, "Dude, you're just insane." No, because I was arguing back then in like 2007 that global warming was bullshit, and I had friends of mine. We actually are thinking about, Cynical Skeptic says, you should go on Twitch when you play WoW. We were actually, Camille mentioned that to me the other day. So when we may actually do that. We may actually like live stream like the regulars here running some wiping in the Wailing Caverns. I think it'll be fun, actually. TomTom says, I don't want to get into WoW too much, but are you on a populated server? Remember, WoW Classic is going to be much bigger than Blizzard is anticipating. They're really worried about starting with too many servers. This is one of the little things that are going on right now that people are bitching about, because they're going to have sharding and layering to open up during the early weeks in order to make sure that they can have really high server. They can have a few servers with high server pops, because they've got the computing power for the servers to now handle far more people than they ever did before. So it should be, they should be able to have nice high server populations and nice healthy communities on each server. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I fully expect WoW Classic the servers to be overpopulated for at least 2 or 3 months, and so I don't think there'll be a problem being on a high pop server. The problem will be if they have to open up new servers after the initial rush. There'll be a lot of people who won't want to move and won't want to build a new community on a different server. That will be the bigger problem. So I'll most likely start with I'll start on whatever. There's 2 of those, Mankrik and Peggle. Those are the 2 East Coast PvE servers. I'm a Care Bear. I don't fucking play on a PvP server. Fuck that noise. I got better things to do with my time than get ganked, because I'm 51 years old and I don't have Twitch muscles and I'm not that good. But I like PvE. So there you go. So that's what, I was on freaking Dalaran, man. I was on the worst server, the oldest and worst server imaginable. Is there a libertarian character in World of Warcraft? Yeah, it's called the Warlock. How soon before the markets break hard? How long do we have? Which markets? That's the problem. Is it, you're talking about the U.S. equity markets? We got a while yet. They're going to trade sideways. They're going to be choppy. They're going to be volatile and choppy. But it's the sovereign bond markets are the things that are in the massive bubble. That's the massive bubble. And if the last 9 months of insane bids in sovereign bonds across the West haven't clued you into this fact, then there we are. But that's what's got to break. And when that breaks, then everything goes crazy. And the equity markets will be the last thing to break, because what has to happen here is a shift, is a rotation out of debt and into tangible assets as faith in government falls and the safe haven trade becomes tangible assets. And like it or not, as bad as the stock is, as overvalued as the stock is, at the very least, it's a claim on a tangible asset. It's a claim on an income stream. There may not be any growth there, but it's better than losing all your principal. I think the number is up to close to 16 trillion in negative yielding debt. Yes. It keeps rising every freaking day, so I can't keep up with it. I don't know if this is fake news or not, but Bloomberg reported that Trump called up 3 banks. I did see this. And when the large drop happened on Wednesday, Trump is extremely anal over the stock market as a barometer. Right, because he's a fucking moron. He doesn't understand that the stock market is not a barometer of his fucking presidency. That's why he's angry with the Fed. He wants the stock market at 30,000 so he can get reelected. So it looks like we're starting to have dropouts for server quality, for stream quality, and I don't know why. It could be that, you know, Camille's. So it's looking bad, and I don't know what it is. And it shouldn't be that I'm running out of room on my hard drive because I cleaned my hard drive up the other day. I think. Let me make sure. And this is persistent now. So this is either somebody is. Well, it might be. I tried really hard. So odds of a recession before 2020. Globally, very high. In the United States, pretty low. Just because money is going to continue to flow into the United States. All right, guys. It's looking like I'm running out of room on my hard drive. I'm going to have to cut this off. So I don't know why, but I swore that I cut out. So it's not on your end. It's probably on mine. I'm watching the output. The output's bad right now. So, and that's most likely because my hard drive's full. So I'm going to have to cut out here a little early tonight. We went long on Monday night. I'm doing it now. Either that or Camille was like firing up a video now. It's not getting any better. All right, I'm going to run. So again, if anybody's interested, you know, hit me up for a Discord server invite, or so we can coordinate if you guys want to play WoW together. I'm all over it. Otherwise, that's the show. That's the stream. You guys have a great weekend. It was real. It was fun. I don't know if it was real fun, but that's what we got. All right, you guys take care. Be good. Keep your stick on the